For today's business brief, we're joined by the founder of the Switzer Report and host of Money Talks, Peter Switzer. Peter, we're awaiting the Labor costings. That's going to happen mid-morning here in Canberra. But the first thing I want to ask you about was the RBA decision. Did they get it right this week?
I think they did. I think the Reserve Bank needs to have a look at a few more other economic readings. And we get a lot next week before the election. We get the business confidence survey, the consumer confidence survey, and the latest job numbers. And I think the Reserve Bank is thinking the job market looks so good. Sure, inflation and economic growth has been a disappointment, and you'd think that would be a good reason to cut interest rates. But I do think, even when you throw in the political implication of cutting rates in the middle of an election campaign, I understand why the Reserve Bank is waiting at least another month before they move.
Yeah, there were a few caveats, weren't there, in this decision. What's ahead, do you think? A 40% chance, 50% chance of a cut by the end of the year? And what will it be reliant upon? Well, unfortunately, I haven't got a bookmaker's licence, so I can't price it as well as you'd like me to. But look, as I say, if the job numbers are worrying on Thursday, I think that will make them move. And by the way, guys, and this is why economics is so tricky. Like, being a political commentator is so much easier because you've got nothing to really measure. But when it comes to economics, guys, look, job ads are usually a great indicator for what's going to happen to the job market. Now, they have fallen 6 months in a row, but since their record high over a year, 5%. They're only down 5%. So you've got to be really careful with statistics. So I think the Reserve Bank was wise in waiting.
The other big news of the week that sort of underpins everything really in a global sense is the China-US trade talks and Donald Trump's latest big bluff. What did you make of that? Yeah, look, this is going to be his ultimate out-of-the-deal plays, because if he doesn't come up with something by Friday, that's basically the deadline, Wall Street won't like it. I do like the fact that Dow is only down 138 points with all these question marks hanging around. And remember, he can't afford a trade deal. A trade deal will send the stock market into a big fall and could easily set up a recession in the US because of confidence effects. And that would be the worst thing he could run to the 2020 You mean a trade
November
war? He can't afford a trade war.
Did I say war, did I? Yeah, he probably could afford a war, but a trade war would really create a recession, and then that would ultimately lead to him being kicked out in the 2020 poll in November. So he needs to pull this off, and I'll be very surprised if he takes his out-of-the-deal tactics to the next stage.
We are awaiting the costs of Labor's policies to be unveiled today, Peter Switzer, but how concerned or otherwise is business about a Labor government, and why?
Yeah, I think business is really concerned, and I think investors are as well. And the bottom line is, and I've actually heard from industrial relations businesses, they're actually out there hiring. So Bill Shorten is really good for hiring, for job creation in the industrial relations area. But that's what businesses are worried about. They're worried about the implication on wages, ultimately, the cost of employing people. And I just think the uncertainty, if Bill had just come to the election as a very peaceful Labor leader, like Hawke and Keating were before 1983, I think there would have been so much concern. But his policies are very controversial. And as Richo said to me during the week when I interviewed him, he said he is playing a rich versus poor game, which Richo said he didn't like. And I think business kind of does relate to the rich rather than the poor.